It has been said many times before we currently live in a golden age of television, seeing some of the finest works ever produced for TV coming to life, and online streaming services have helped in that regard in many ways, giving creators so many more options for where and how to develop their work. For years the standard was 20 to 26 episodes a season, and back in the 50s when these shows were all half-hour episodes shot on a few sets and oftentimes live, 20 to 26 episodes was not unreasonable. Not easy, but still an attainable goal. As TV series grew more complex with higher production values, the work put into each episode increased substantially, but television networks stuck to the industry standard of over 20 episodes per season. The result being a tremendous strain put on the series' development and sometimes resulting in less than stellar episodes of otherwise great series. The introduction of a brand new platform to create television series that need only be as many and as long as they have to be has led to some of the best television we have ever seen. This is an unprecedented advantage to modern TV producers, and we the fans have reaped all the rewards. But it's another unprecedented aspect of today's film and TV I want to point out to you today, and reason number one why I love Cobra Kai, a series literally 35 years in the making. I'm Mark Faubert and welcome back to the Cobra Kai Guy. Growing up in the 1980s and watching cool new 80s movies, I had no interest at all in watching movies from the 50s. Meaning no disrespect to the 50s film industry, but it was in its infancy back then. And when you're watching cool new movies like RoboCop and playing the brand new Nintendo Entertainment System, old black and white film-reeled movies with their skippy audio and crappy sets, it just had no interest to us. They were essentially filming plays for TV and movies. But today, films made over 30 years ago were things like RoboCop, Star Wars, Karate Kid. And we and children today are still playing the Nintendo, and a lot of those old games still hold up today. I can assure you back in the 1980s, us kids were not playing with their parents' ball in the cup toy or their pogo sticks. No, we had cool things. We were at the dawn of cool things. And there simply just wasn't any movie or character from the 1950s that we had any interest in seeing come back and reprise their role. In color. What I find so amazing about Cobra Kai and other TV shows and movies that have in recent years done similar things is the ability to have flashbacks to events that happened 30 years ago in the show's universe and actually happened 30 years ago in the real world. It's so amazing and rather unprecedented in TV and films to have flashbacks and the actor who is playing the character today be the same actor 30 years younger in the flashback. A youth watching Cobra Kai today who has never seen the original movie gets a very unique perspective on the story and gets to see genuine flashbacks of the characters when they were young, as if they shot these scenes 30 years ago in preparation for the series. And this brings me to another point. Who the hell 35 years ago could have possibly predicted the making of this series? No one, that's who. Nobody looked at these actors when they were in their teens and 20s and said, well, sure, they look good now, but will they still look good and be physically fit 35 years from now? I mean, let's face it, not everyone ages gracefully over 30 years. Why don't we cram Val Kilmer back into his bat suit for an epic return? The fact that Zabka, Macchio, and Martin Kove all still look great today, are physically fit, and more than capable of playing their roles, well, that's just outstanding. And when I hear the creators and actors saying in interviews things like, we wouldn't make any continuation of the Karate Kid unless they were done right, that shows how much respect they have for the property. I'm sure that if Cobra Kai had to be either one mega film or a network series stretched out over 26 episodes per season packed in with filler, it would have never been made. The online platform gives the creators the perfect venue to produce their work, as if they were waiting for that right platform to come along. The result of all of this is a phenomenal TV series. I personally would rather something not be made at all if it's not going to be made right. In a way, I envy a person who has not seen the original films and instead watched Cobra Kai first, then gone back to watch the events of the first film and draw their own conclusions. This show, whether intended or not, was 35 years in the making, a theme the show wholeheartedly embraces. This includes the clashing of the cultural differences between now and then. A lot has stayed the same since the 80s, but a lot has also changed.
Some things have changed since you go, Miyagi-san.
And some things have not, eh?
Many argue that some aspects of modern culture has gotten a little too soft and maybe a little bit of 80s tough love and badassery are needed. Who could have predicted this series being developed? Who could have predicted that the actors could even perform those roles 35 years later? And who would have guessed that Johnny Lawrence was going to come back 35 years later to splash a bucket of cold, wet, hard 80s reality on us, tell us we're getting too soft, and it's time we bring back a little bit of badass? No one. That's who. 35 years in the making. Literally, this series is 35 years in the making, and that is the #1 reason why I love Cobra Kai. Thank you so much for joining us today. It really does mean a lot to me. If you liked the video, please like it, consider subscribing, comment below, and I'll see you next time on the Cobra Kai Guy.
Some things have changed since you go, Miyagi-san.
And some things have not, eh?